The Blokebusters podcast is a proud member of the Pod Bros Network, where you can find us as well as other excellent podcasts such as Sarcasm City, Worst Millennials, and Late Night Gamers at podbros.com. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of the Blokebusters podcast.
Tonight's story is somewhat unique and calls for a different kind of introduction.
Police gone off! Today we are canceling the apocalypse!
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
And this is?
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Houston, we have a problem.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Now, where was I?
Welcome to another episode of Franch-Fried. I'm Brian.
And I'm Paul.
And this is our little offshoot of the Blokebusters podcast, where we take the latest film in this case, the original series in a franchise that we feel may have just gone a little too far, needs to go away forever. And kind of our whole point in doing this is that we love to see original work, original ideas, and not so much the reboots and the endless sequels.
Yes, so running into the ground of every.
Yes, not that we haven't seen a few good ones here and there, but by and large, what we're doing with this is showing the worst side of these things. Yes. Just look through the back catalog of our Franch-Fried. So, as you can guess by whatever title Paul or I have put on this, we are talking about 1973's Battle for the Planet of the Apes, the last in the originally started franchise with Charlton Heston. Long gone from these films, I believe. Yes. But before we get into all of that, where can the good people of the internet find us, Paul?
Well, if they really wish to get a hold of us, then they can find us on Twitter at Blokebusters, Facebook.com/Blokebusters, and Instagram at Blokebusters. You can email us, blokebusters@gmail.com, and we have a website, blokebusters.webs.com, because, well, we still haven't paid for just plainold.com there, and we also are on the Podbros Network website, which is podbros.com, along with many other fine podcasts. Please do go give those a listen.
Yes, agreed.
And so, yes, the nuts and bolts for this film, the 1973, is directed by J. Lee Thompson, who, I'll be perfectly honest, I've never heard of before, so there we go.
One of my favorites.
Yes, a budget of, and I'm fairly certain this is not adjusted for inflation, $1.7 million, and a box office of $8,844,595. I'm fairly certain that's entirely domestic. I don't know if there was an international release with this one. I imagine there was, but they don't have the figures. So there we go. I'm looking entirely on US.
And just a quick little addendum here. J. Lee Thompson was the director of The Guns of Navarone, which, wow, surprising, because that is a classic. So, all right. But that was 12 years earlier. So I don't know. I don't know what happened that he took this job, but okay.
I'm not sure.
No judgment, but judgment. Okay. All right. So, where are we cracking into this thing?
Well, I'm not 100%
Oh, yes.
sure.
Yes. So, what is your Apes experience, film-wise?
My Apes experience is I know the end of the original Planet of the Apes because even though I haven't seen the film, I have watched TV and also seen other films, so therefore, of course, I know the ending of the original Planet of the Apes. I have seen the big Hollywood reboot that they did with James Franco. I can't remember, was it Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
It was Rise of the Planet of the Apes that he was in. He does pop up via little tiny screen on a camcorder playback in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but Rise of the Planet of the Apes was the James Franco starring movie.
I would have thought it'd be the other way around with the name, because I feel like Dawn and then Rise.
The least of the series problems, but
go
ahead. Sorry,
I was going to say, so I saw that, and then I remember I remember not being too put off by it. I liked it, but I loved seeing Andy Serkis as Caesar. He was very good in that, and I kind of enjoyed watching Jane Franco not just do a comedy role. And it was very odd seeing Tom Felton in it. That was just weird. But then the second one came out, and I was like, yeah, I'll probably go and see it, and then I just never did. And I have seen I'm fairly certain it's Mark Wahlberg one.
Ooh, boy, that one off with by Tim Burton. Yeah.
Yes, I've seen that.
That which was supposed to be a whole series, but did so poorly. Yeah, they tanked it. Yeah, they scrapped it.
So there you go. I've seen the start of 2 different attempts to reboot the franchise, and now I've seen this one. So there we go.
All right. So I have, as you, well, maybe not seen, but just am culturally aware of the first film and what happens in it and the ending. I don't know that I've ever seen more than maybe a few scenes of the film.
Yeah.
And I've certainly never sat down to try to watch it ever. And then I have seen Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Okay. So I did not see Rise, which was 2011. I've seen 2014's Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I really enjoyed that movie, mostly for Paul reasons. If people know the podcast well enough, for its visual for aesthetics and for what was put on screen and the scope. I thought it was a highly entertaining movie, albeit probably a little too long at busting over 2 hours for this kind of action movie. Yeah. But that is pretty much the only one I've ever seen in entirety. Never seen the Marky Mark one, and I did want to see Rise, but I don't know. I got to pick and choose with my James Franco because he can be a little unbearable at times. I find him. Yeah. But I mean, that being said, I do really want to see The Disaster Artist. But yeah, so that is pretty much my experience with that. And just a little backtrack here, if you're new to the Franch-Fried, I didn't mention it up top. Once we decide on what we're covering on Franch-Fried, we do not bone up on any homework that maybe have been missed in the series. No. So we come in with it having whatever knowledge of the series or whatever experience we've had with the franchise coming in fresh. So we just watch the movie that we're supposed to watch, and that is all. So
yes,
makes it more fun. Yeah. So sometimes we don't know what the hell we're talking about on these. Apologies, Chucky fans. That we were talking out of our ass on that one, probably.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. So that being said, oh boy. So what did you think of this one, Paul?
Well, I will tell you that my first note that I wrote down was that the production values for the film seem to be on par with what we generally see with franchises that go on too long, which is that the budget starts to run out.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know where that 1.8 million went. I find that shocking, 1.8 million. But, okay.
Yes, I can only assume that because the franchise itself was doing so well, they must have just had kind of a flat rate that they did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of that could be location. Locations can get expensive.
That's right.
I don't know how much money Roddy McDowall was getting at that point, but
I don't know.
Other than that, I don't see a whole lot of plus $400,000 on that screen. I don't know, but
well, maybe most of it went to making the ape faces.
Well, they need to get a refund. So,
yes.
Yeah.
I will say that obviously it's very kind of especially now. Obviously, this film was made so long ago, the effects weren't really there to be able to touch up and do all this sort of stuff. So, take everything with a little bit
let's
of
get that caveat out of the way up front. We know this is 1973, but we're still going to rip into this quite a bit, I think. So
yes, I would say so. My only thing I'll say though is that I was well aware of kind of how shoddy those things are, and I was always looking. Every time the mouth was open, you're always like looking inside to see if you can see the other mouth inside it.
like Giger's Alien, the mouth in a mouth.
Yeah, or the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
but I grew to accept them as the film went on.
Oh, okay.
Like, this is kind of where it's going. Like you either had to keep making fun of it every time it's on screen, which is every single scene.
Yes.
In this, or you just kind of go with it. And I was willing to let it go around about the halfway point. I was like, oh, we're saddled with this.
Yeah. So I was telling Paul before we started that I was getting in kind of a little bit of a quick rewatch. I watched it last night for the first time, or the night before this recording, and then I just kind of was jumping around, and I was being a little more forgiving this second time around, jumping through a few scenes. Yeah. But I did my note much later to kind of what we're talking about was that this looked like a high school stage production of Planet of the Apes, like a modern high school stage production. And I don't think that's too far off.
Yeah, I find it kind of. I feel like, and it's going to sound weird, it's entirely because of like the setting and stuff like that. But it almost feels like I was watching them doing something on the set of Robin Hood Men in Tights. Like it was that kind of feel to it of they just throw on the costume, just get out there and do some acting, and it's just all of these people just milling around in this area that they clearly paid for like a week. Like we've got to get all these scenes done as quickly as possible, so we're not burning up film because this was back when film was expensive.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And would easily catch fire.
Yes.
So anyway, we kind of start off with I don't even know the character name. It's not important. Old ape person telling the story. I guess kind of doing a quick backtrack of the series. I would gather of things that happened of man enslaving apes and the rise of the apes, something along those lines.
It's kind of a nice catch up for people that haven't seen the previous film. Now, I feel like
I thought it was very clumsy. I thought the prologue was very messy.
It was, and it definitely felt like you were watching a quick rehash of the film that must have been immediately before this one, rather than an overarching. Because
I think this was for everyone that had been going along this quote unquote journey so far. But one of my first notes was the costuming, because that first we get some VO with who we find out are Caesar's parents getting gunned down, and we have just a very obvious dummy like flop to the ground or flop to the deck of the ship. It just like bounces off, and you can tell it weighs like 4 pounds. It just flops around, and then this line just cracked me up. So both were brutally murdered. Oh, you mean where I just saw the two get shot and fall to their deaths and get covered up? So, yes, they were murdered. Yeah. Moving on.
Although I would like to point out, you only see the one guy, the guy gets shot, and then he quite clumsily tumbles over, and then he's the mannequin that slams into the ground and bounces a little. And then it's his wife, crawling up to him and putting her arm around him, but she doesn't have any blood on her at all. You don't see her get shot. It's just no. She's just dead, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
Sympathy pains. I don't know.
I'll toss in a little some nice things here and there just to even it out, but I do enjoy the old style of full credits up front. I've always been a fan of that. I love getting them out of the way, and it forces you to watch them because it's integrated into the film. The film is starting, and you're seeing the credits. So I do like that those people get recognized and don't just have people throwing their popcorn buckets on the floor and bolting for the door.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I do like that. I know that's a really small bit of praise, but I liked the credits.
Well, hey, I will actually say, as shoddily done as the prologue was, for someone coming into this franchise having not seen any of the previous ones, like, it was perfect. I got a bit of a catch-up of the story that was actually relevant to the film I was about to watch, and it gave me information that they didn't want to just have a character clumsily say during the film. So it was like, I enjoyed it more than, like, what, Cult of Chucky. It was just like, okay, I guess
that is
things
a high
have
bar to
happened
beat.
here. But, you know, it's the problem with a lot of these franchises, especially now, is they just assume that you have definitely watched every single entry, which sometimes isn't possible. So just to have something which kind of catches you up in the first, like, 8 minutes, I felt was a very good way to do it. And then, while I was thinking that, you did see a lot of rubber truncheon work from the guards as they were hitting all of these people, and you just watch it bend against their back as they're hitting. It's like, oh, very effective work there. Well done.
Oh my gosh, wow. Yeah, the props and just the whole action sequences have some issues here. But I mean, the first thing that really stuck out horribly, other than that dummy falling, was General Aldo, played by Claude Akins, I guess. Okay.
Yep.
That you can clearly see the actor's white skin behind in the eyes, around the eyes. It's so jarring. Like seriously, you couldn't black that out. Like, that's not expensive. You spent $1.8 million on this movie, and you couldn't get yourself some eye black.
And maybe it was the 7th take, and they'd run out of the.
I mean, did you think it got better in other scenes, or I mean, I don't know. I noticed some of the other gorillas looked better, I thought, than Aldo did. But
yeah, no, definitely. I think the problem is that, again, the way that I had with the general faces, that I just kind of got used to, like, okay, that's how they look. I think I stopped looking for that as the film went on, because I just expected that it was there. So not living up to my general potential there when it comes to that. But I think the problem with that was, like, these films are cobbled together based on, the 10th take was perfect for that one, or the 5th take was perfect, and I'm sure they didn't have the time to touch up the makeup between every single take. So you do end up with a lot of, oh, no, they forgot it with this one, and then it cuts away and it cuts back, and, you're fine again. It's just continuity is a nightmare and stuff like this.
I'm sure, and I have nothing to back this up, but I feel like this was like a 16-day shooting schedule. I feel like this was really tightly made. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of felt like an old school studio era shoot to me, because I'm sure that they did only have the location for a small amount of time, so they were like, we're just gonna keep filming like this. They're gonna get everything done. They don't want to pay all the actors.
I'm sure this film was hell for the extras. I'm sure, like, there are awful war stories from the extras of this film about just. I mean, I know there are ones from, like, Lord of the Rings and stuff about those awful long night shoots in Two Towers, but I'm sure this is up there with just being overworked, and I'm sure it wasn't a fun experience for the people that weren't featured in this.
Not. Now, one thing I did want to mention up front, because it plays very heavily throughout the entire film, is, I assume you noticed, being the audio guy that you are, exactly how much they use music in this, loud music at that, to attempt to set the tone, rather than letting it play out as it would.
Yeah, so this is I attribute this is I think kind of a trope of 70s cinema. Very leading with the score. I mean, overpowering, really, with it. It's just, okay, we get it. Something tense is about to happen. But it over promises and under delivers is what it ends up doing.
Yeah, and I almost expected at some point, and obviously completely different franchise entirely, but the Star Trek just to jump in at some point, and I was like, you're going with the most heavy-handed music you can find to set every single scene. Like, come on, just dial it back a little.
And the budget doesn't equal the intensity. Like, you can't show me the payoff for what you're promising there. So I know I just kind of said that in a different way, but you really are building up my expectations too high with that kind of score. And it's not even it is just kind of a generic score. Sorry, composer, whoever you were, but it is kind of just canned and by the numbers action, Yeah.
I mean, obviously we jump around a little bit in this, but the sort of final confrontation of the film.
Oh no, let's not get. Okay, go ahead. All right.
I mean, I won't go directly into it right now, but all I'll say is that what you were just saying. Yeah, exactly. The final confrontation, the music that's there, does not equal what we see on screen. But we will get to that in a minute.
Yes, Mad Max Fury Road, it is not.
No.
Let's just say that. There are no flaming guitar guys in this one. Sorry, people. Yeah.
Sadly, yeah.
We'll save you the trouble. No,
yeah,
we can put it. We can put that guy retroactively into every movie, and I think we'd have something. But
yeah, he could definitely ride in on top of the school bus. I think.
Okay, we're getting. I really wanted to save this bus for the end, but okay. We'll double back around for the bus.
Well, yeah, and I love the idea that people are listening to this, having not seen the film, and going, "School bus? Yes,
school
that's
bus?
right." So we'll get to it.
Please, yes, I wouldn't recommend you watch this movie regularly, but watch it to enhance this audio experience.
Yes.
I don't think we mentioned this comes in at a hot 1 hour 26 minutes. So even though it can feel a lot longer than that at times, and I did take multiple breaks watching this last night. I went on my phone for like 10 minutes. Went on the iPad and played a game for like 10 minutes. Yeah, like, oh boy, I had to take some breaks in there. But you do get through it fairly quickly. So, yeah. I did enjoy like some of this shoddy action we were alluding to in that writing class in the beginning with teacher, and I think he's just known as Teacher. But he's...
Yes, I believe so.
I think that's all. Yeah, I think that's the character name is Teacher. But obviously, a confrontation ensues with Aldo and Teacher, and then I just love how just wimpy this whole scene is. It's like, okay, Aldo just like, okay, I'm gonna just like gently knock that table over. I'm gonna toss that down on the ground while this booming score is going on, and it's like, I'm gonna take these flowers out of this pot, throw them on the ground, and you know what? I'm gonna blow out this candle. How do you like that? It was like, wow, yeah, $1.8 million. Yep.
Yeah, I did really enjoy, like, obviously Aldo when the word no is uttered, and it's just like everyone decides, well, that's it, we're going literally apeshit now, and what they do is they kind of knock over some tables and push some chairs over, and it's like, there's no more schoolroom. It's like, just like tilt it back up, it'll be fine.
Yeah, and like the confrontation after is like, Caesar's like, no, Aldo, you're gonna go fix it. It'll literally take 5 seconds to fix that room. Pick that table up, put that chair behind or under that table. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, especially with there was like 20 gorillas there. Like, it really won't take long at all.
Yeah, you're kind of a disgrace to your species, gorillas. Like, come on. Yeah. Paul, do you love Virgil for all of his time travel bullshit?
You know, I actually, I did put down a note that was like, I wasn't expecting a time travel discussion in this film.
Yes. So I'm sure you thought, okay, I hate this part, or I would hate this part, but
it was interesting. I mean, they clearly, I think the writers themselves knew about the theory. But then they tried to get it across to people that wouldn't know anything about the theory, and they did it very badly. So I don't get it. I don't know why they kind of muddled it. It's really not that difficult. It really isn't. I know that I probably know a little bit more than your average person about the idea of like time travel and different timelines and how things can affect and stuff like that. And it can be a lot to get your head around. But if you're going into something like this, where it's like, well, maybe the one future is different, but you can it's not that you can change the future, but what you do. If you do an action that's different from what is predicted, you'll just end up going down a different timeline. Like, I just said that in 2 sentences. This film tried to do it in about 10, and it just gets more muddled as they go on and on and on.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose of the scene is to establish Virgil as the intellectual, and I guess it does that.
Yes.
Okay-ish, you know.
Aside from the fact that he carries a book around everywhere with him.
Yes. See, book, knowledge, get it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Although, what I want to know, and this didn't even directly connect to that, but he almost always had a book with him, except when they go off to the ruined city. And then he's the one that's carrying a Geiger counter. How the hell do they know what it is, and why do they have one? I genuinely don't know. Yeah, a Geiger counter.
Well, they ask for the Geiger counter from Mandemus in the armory.
Yeah, they do. But it's out of everything that they would have saved and taken from humans in the giant war, a Geiger counter? Really?
I don't know if I'm misremembering, but didn't McDonald let them know that the Forbidden City is radioactive? Or him and Caesar, when they're having that discussion about McDonald's, like, oh, you can still hear, see images of your parents and hear them, and Caesar's like, don't speak to me in riddles, blah blah blah.
Oh,
it comes out that it's radioactive then, right?
Well, yeah, I guess I was saying it in a weird way.
Questioning the device itself, like how.
I'm questioning why the apes would have taken a Geiger counter to this town with the weapons. It's the most random thing that they would
maybe
have.
That's an answer we get if we watch the rest of the movie.
Maybe, yes. It could be a throwaway line in a previous film that they've just clutched onto.
Exactly. Now, who the hell knows?
And speaking of throwaway lines, I think possibly my favorite stupid line in the entire film is from once they are going into this old city, and it comes from one of the citizens of that city, and it's, we're all radiated, but at least we're active. Like, oh my god, how bad was that?
I really like that line.
Yeah, I know, it's a fantastic line, but it's awful.
It's great. I mean, to imagine, like, you write that line, you're like, this is pretty great. We really got him with this one. Yeah, I love it for that.
There was definitely a high five after that.
Yeah, John William Carrington and Joyce Hooper Carrington, the screenplay writers on this. So they're like, oh man, wait till they hear this one. Yeah. It was something else. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was kind of focusing on that line because I was writing it down and all that, and then something hit me as well, because obviously these people that are living there, they've been radiated into mutants, which basically means they've got a bit of a skin problem. That's it. That's literally the only mutation from these people.
They need some extra lotion.
But as they go further down to look for the archive, the radiation gets worse. That doesn't make sense. They're going further underground, further into the thing. Surely the radiation would be worse at the top and then get less as you go down into the structure. Unless the bomb fell into the building and exploded at the bottom of the building and then everything else happened. But I had a bit of a gripe with that one.
You might be the only person to ever bring that up about this movie.
Oh yes, I'm sure there weren't any nuclear physicists going to see this film and then coming out going, well, that was ruined for me. The second
yes, completely unrealistic. I was on board for Talking Apes, but not this bullshit.
it is that this is going to be the problem when it comes to
Okay,
films like
so I don't know if I was just glazed over at this point, but I need you to see if you can bring an answer to this question for me. So they do. So when they being McDonald, Caesar, and Virgil, they're on this mission to the Forbidden City to retrieve these archives of Caesar's parents. So they do find this tape, and do they not say the tape is from 1973? I swear they say this tape is from 1973. Or he reads like the side of the canister, and it's like got a date on it.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
1973.
On the canister it says something like that.
This film starts, I believe, in the year 2060. Is that correct? North America 2060.
Yep, it's like it's either 60 or like 64 or something like that.
Is it 2060? I mean, I guess okay.
But yeah,
maybe I didn't think this up, but I guess okay. So they do live long lives. Is that right? Or I don't know because that seems
they do. But where am I? McDonald is the brother of the guy that was working there when Caesar's parents were there. So
I mean, something about this timeline is just not adding up to me. But
no, and you can't even do the whole wibbly wobbly timey wimey thing when it comes to time travel because there isn't any actual time travel in this film. They're just talking about things that have happened before.
So we're essentially talking 90 years previous, almost 90 years.
Doesn't
87.
make any sense if you're. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that that originally happened, and then Caesar obviously was a baby, and let's say apes live 200 years, just for the hell of it. They live 200 years.
Sure.
And the guy McDonald, whose brother was working at that building, they were working there while Caesar was imprisoned there, but that was loads of years after that. So, like, Caesar had been imprisoned for many, 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 many years before the whole uprising thing. But I think that's giving it too much credit, and I'm just going to put it down to error in the filmmaker's camp there.
I'm okay with that.
One other thing I had about the people living down there. The guy who was like the leader of those people. Did you notice
Governor Culp?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
Did you notice that every single time he gave any sort of command, was trying to yell out instruction, it was the least enthusiastic order he could possibly be given, just like, go now, go kill them, now go.
Yes. You, over there, do something. Yeah.
It was like
he could not be bothered with. He hates that he's risen to this position somehow.
I mean, like, he's instructing them all to get ready to basically go to war against the ape people, and it is literally just everyone go, run, go to.
It's sorry. I won't put you on blast here. I won't say your name, but not the best acting by Governor Culp. I'm sure you're super concerned with me saying it. So there you are. It's Severn Darden. Okay, Severn Darden. Yeah, you mailed this one in. Okay, so
And did you notice as well? Anytime somebody had to run or they were attempting to drive anywhere, it was the slowest movement you could possibly make while still moving. It's like, yes, I'm running down a corridor while basically jumping up and down on the spot. Like, what the hell? What was with all of this? It's as if they only had, 10 feet to work within, but they needed to get several lines of dialogue out. So they were like, okay, we're running, but we're not running, and go.
It was painful to watch. It kind of reminds me of stormtroopers assembling in the early episodes 4, 5, and 6. How kind of militarily they kind of trot along and stuff and assemble, but they were fleeing for their lives.
Yeah.
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 At least they had
Good.
in the Star Wars. They had the because it was like run, cut to another shot, run, like cut to another. This was all one shot, just lots of slow marching or whatever.
Yeah. We get some more really clumsy action again in the tunnels or whatever down in the Forbidden City. I love Virgil gets surrounded by these radioactive dwellers, and I love McDonald just comes up and he just like slappily like pushes them off while he's like holding a machine gun.
Yeah.
Did you see? He's just like meh, like pushes them off, and they're just like. It's so awkward. Seriously, you got to watch that scene. It's just so lazy and hilarious.
Yeah, it's almost as if they were also just going like, okay, McDonald, you've got a gun, but you don't want to fire it. Go.
No. You want to make it a burden to you while you just kind of shove a couple of these guys, and there's like 20 of them around him, but you somehow get this guy out. You get Virgil out of there. Okay, cool. Yeah. I saw where the script had to say, and then he frees Virgil.
Yeah, I think so. The choreography was literally just going, and fall over. Go. Okay, that was it.
Yeah. And how quickly did Governor Culp, the leader of the Forbidden City, kind of change his mind about he really wanted these people captured for questioning, right? He was very gung-ho about that. I need these people alive. We got to find out what's going on. And 2 seconds later, kill them all! Kill them!
Yeah, you even get the guard talking about like there's been peace for what was it, like 40 years? Like no one's ever shot anyone. No one's even been attacked. And then these people turn up and they're like, okay, bring them in for questioning. There's one altercation. It's like, well, all hope is lost. We must just kill everyone on sight. Like, okay. I think he's bipolar, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. But it was so weird. He's just like, yeah, fuck it, kill him.
Maybe that was his mutation.
We're bored. It doesn't even say something like it's been peace is like, or he said like peace has been boring or something, or we do need to shake things up, something like that. I don't know, something along those lines. When they bring up how long it's been peaceful, Paul, this doesn't take an eagle-eyed viewer, especially if I caught it. And especially if I didn't pull it from IMDb's goofs. But there's a point where Virgil is like kind of defending the onslaught of these Forbidden City guys, and he gets a fire hose.
Yep.
And he starts to aim the fire hose and shoots it and hits one guy. There is an extra screen right that reacts as if he's being hit by the fire hose simultaneously. Did you see that?
I believe I did, yes. It was.
Oh my god. I had to rewind it. I was like, no. No water is touching him, and he is flailing his arms. And it is fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
It's just like, ah!
Well,
before the water even gets near him.
Yeah, I can only assume they only had one take that day because they couldn't wait for the costume to dry out again.
I don't know, but oh my gosh. We're seriously just pointing out like 4 or 5 examples of how shittily strung together this movie is.
Oh, yeah.
But I have a feeling there were not a lot of third and fourth takes, even second maybe. This was probably Clint Eastwood style. This was Clint Eastwood style. Okay, we got it. Moving on.
Yeah, at least for these types of shots. I'm sure when it comes to them just doing dialogue, they had time, but something like this, no, they're not going to redo this again and again. Do you know how much it costs to rent a fire hose in those times? I mean, come on.
You know what? I don't. So you got me there.
I think somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.6 million. That's where the money is found.
Oh, we finally cracked that one. Okay, podcast over. We got it.
And the other, if we're going along that type of route as well, pointing out these really bad continuity things, when they actually turn up at the end with the mounted gun on the vehicle, and they're like, okay, take aim and fire. And what they somehow do is fire a gun. It's almost, and I don't know if you've seen the live action Sergeant Bilko with Steve Martin, but it's almost like what they do when they're pretending the gun is firing at the end, which is the gun is pointed off to their left, and they are looking off to their right through the binoculars at two apes on a hill. The gun fires, and the apes that they're looking at explode.
I see. I don't think I caught that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like I saw that happen, and it's like he's very clearly staring down the barrel of his binoculars at these apes. Either that, or he's just looking at a bird somewhere and ordering off the firing.
Yes,
like, kill them
he is
now,
a bird watcher, and
that's a finch.
his secret passion.
Look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My
Lord.
I don't know.
Okay.
I was expecting the Sergeant Bilko explanation. It's just like, you've heard of Einstein theory, space is curved, and these are smart weapons. Yeah. But yeah, I don't. As we said, there must have only been a couple of takes of some of these scenes, and it really shows in these types of stuff.
Yeah, it's a wonder they didn't make more after this.
I know.
That this was the death knell of the franchise for a while. So go ahead.
I will say I did feel like this film was like an ending. I feel like they weren't planning on making any more after this one, just solely based on how they bookend the film. So,
or do you think there were reshoots or rewriting when they realized how awful this was, and like, well, we're not going to get it to make any more of these, so we better put an end on this.
Yeah, like, let's just get some kids in, put half of them in a costume, we'll be good.
So I guess we need to talk a little bit about Cornelius, maybe.
Sure,
Cornelius being Caesar and Lisa. Is that her name? Lisa's son?
Yep.
You know, we all know an ape named Lisa. So, yep. Well done, Natalie Trundy. Shout out to you. As like the only female lead in this thing. So well done for all you got to do there. But we get Cornelius, I guess, really gets to shine other than being kind of a whiny, typical kid that wants to just play. He really gets to shine in the scene when he's eavesdropping on Aldo and the other gorillas, their secret meeting to that Bender would definitely be at to kill all humans. So, we know Bender's in there somewhere. But I love it. He's just like in his pajamas. And so of course Aldo just pretty much straight up, I guess we're calling this manslaughter, or not ape slaughter, sorry, not manslaughter.
Yep.
Yeah, but thank you. There's my one for the episode. I won't do it again. All right. Paul says, yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. But anyway, yeah, so inadvertently, I guess, kills, well, sorry, spoiler, severely injures Cornelius for the time being.
Yes.
Sorry for that. Spoiler for 2 minutes from now. But, yeah. So that was a little bit of action, I guess.
I suppose, yes. I mean, if you enjoy seeing a tree surgeon do some work, because that's about all you got.
Yeah, for a film that is labeled primarily in the action genre, there is very few and far between the action.
I mean, think about, so this franchise, you've got Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, which could arguably be on par, and then this one, Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Very little battling.
The most action-y word of all of those. Battle.
I think, there's, I have no other way of saying this. There's fuck all battling in this film.
No. A movie I just rewatched recently, Turbo Kid, strong recommendation. Way more action and that wonderful little gem of a film than this did. And I don't even have the budget numbers for that film, but I feel like it was way less than 1.8 million. I mean, maybe comparable, and we're talking in today's money. Yeah.
I mean, like, I'd say there's more battle in the last 10 minutes of Turbo Kid than there is in this entire film.
Oh, and Paul, did you hear? I was going to text you this earlier. Sequel in the works.
Okay.
Yes. Breaking news here. So far, I don't know his name yet, but Turbo Kid is the only one that's signed on. I could look it up, but I'm not going to bother. But I'm hoping to see Apple get pulled into that list because I really need Apple to be back because she was one of the best parts of that damn movie. Okay. All right. So we're just going to talk about Turbo Kid for the rest of this one. All right. Everyone's on board with that.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. So I did one of my notes in this. I'm just looking. I have no idea what was going on at this point. I wrote down what is happening. So I'll just go ahead and check that one off because who knows when that was written. Yeah. It was shortly after Aldo chopped down that branch. So, yeah, I'm just... Yeah. Okay, this is not clear what's going on here.
Yeah, so basically, this entire society that they've built is based around one premise, which is that apes are superior to humans because apes do not kill other apes. And Aldo does an action, as in chopping a tree branch, which leads to the killing of an ape. Now... Not premeditated. Now, is that... Yeah, so when they say ape kill ape, do they mean premeditated or involuntary ape slaughter? I don't know.
Sorry.
Well, and then also you've got, yes, it's not... What would be the same? It's not... Swords don't kill apes. Ape kill ape with a sword. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Gravity kill ape.
There we go.
That falls.
Yes, gravity kill ape. Me merely assist. Yeah, and it's really a stupid kind of plot point that they had because personally I think it would have been way better if they actually had him, beat this kid into unconsciousness.
Even for someone in a costume, I think that would have been rough. And I think you got to remember the time then, 73. I think that would not have gone over well at all.
Well, obviously I don't mean a long shot of just fist after fist, but he goes for it. Maybe he connects on the tree. And that makes him fall out of the tree, but something where he actively impacts the ape because, like we said, obviously he does something that leads to the death of an ape, and that's a big, when I say big, I'm only using it in terms of what the script would do, but it's a big thing that comes back right at the end. But it really, all he does just hack at a tree.
Yeah,
it's not worth it, really.
Overarchingly, and I'm gonna kind of emphasize that I'm not a big fan of this phrase at all. But I just at the moment can't think of another way to say it. I don't like this phrase. But this movie is a cock tease of action throughout. Would you agree to that?
Again, not a fan of the phrase, but yes, I see what you mean.
So I'm saying if I could dive into better vocabulary right now, I would. But hate the phrase, but that is what this film is. It is a constant tease of the promise of action that never comes.
It's basically that. It's a rabbit with a carrot on a stick attached to its head. It's it's right there. Come on,
it's much better. Yes, thank you. Much more benign and accurate. So thank you. So you had said one of your favorite lines. I would like to now toss out one of mine here. We get what's his nuts again? Governor Culp when he is. They have left the Forbidden City and are on their mission to take back or whatever, kill all the apes, whatever the hell they want to do. Who cares? Yeah. I believe he's looking through his binoculars again, planning the attack, and he says, "I want it to look like that city we came from." And it is almost you can feel the screenwriter gave up halfway through that sentence. Like they're just, what did we call that place? That city we came from. That's what we called it. I just felt so sad in that moment.
That feels to me like what actually happened is the actor forgot his line. And rather than go like line, he just said it, and they were like, okay.
Because there is a discernible pause, and that is the best damn part. I want it to look like there's a beat and a half. That city we came from. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Yeah, I just loved it so much. I rewound it and watched it like 3 times. That is worth it right there. That's worth your $4 on iTunes, people.
Well, and another. Possibly the weirdest bit of editing in the entire film, and that I've seen in quite a long time as well, is the oddest jump cut I've seen in cinema. And it is, I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's a line from, what am I blanking on his name? It's either Mandemus or Virgil. I can't remember which one, but it's like, what do you know? And then it jump cuts to them in front of the pen with the humans. It's just, that's what I know. It's like, what? Like,
what? Exactly.
What happened here?
Yeah. I kind of feel bad for the editor of this movie because I'm sure they were not given a lot of choices to make here.
Yeah, no.
I don't like we said before. I don't feel like there was a whole lot of multiple takes in this. Pretty much just had to throw what you could in to preserve the continuity as best you could.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should have kept what logically would have happened, because if you take it purely as what do you know was the last line said by that person, and then the guy waited to say that's what I know by moving, he wordlessly leaves where he's at, everyone follows him, he walks through the camp up to the thing, and then points and says, that's what I know. It's like, I think they should have left that 3 minutes in.
Yes, I agree. Not that this film needed 3 more minutes, but hey, why not?
Just of a silent march through the camp.
Yeah, they could have almost gotten to that 90-minute mark. So with that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anywho, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have a place to go there next?
Oh, no, I just had 1 or 2 more little comments that I had here, which is at the end, the apes have a plan where they're going to all pretend to be dead, and then when everyone comes in and they just like stand up.
It's like the slowest standing up. They're like, okay, all right, let me get my cane. Let me get up here. Hey, we're alive. Yeah. Before that, though, we get Cornelius kicks it. So, dum dum dum. For those not paying attention, that is Caesar's kid. And we get the very sentimental line, one day you should be as tall as a king. That is for people that somehow got invested into this movie.
Yes, and I was not one of them. Back.
Then we get to what we kind of talked about earlier on. The score builds, and holy cow, here it comes. Here it comes. The battle for the planet of the apes. And rolls in a school bus and 3 jeeps.
I feel like it really should be battle for an acre and a half of apes. Like, that's about it.
Yes, with one barely running, rusted out school bus and a couple of army jeeps and a lot of guys shouting. Yeah.
Yeah, and my question is, how are they powering these vehicles that clearly still run on petrol, but it's not like they're still producing it anymore? So I don't know.
Well, they got it from Gastown in Mad Max World.
Oh, yes, there we go.
Yeah, Gastown. They traded it for some bullets from Bullet Farm, and I think I got those names right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we get that exciting sequence.
which exciting is in quotation marks right there.
Oh no, my note is seriously with exciting in quotes. I said exciting conclusion with one school bus and like 3 effing jeeps. Yeah.
Yes, and so obviously it's men with guns. Oh no, and then it's not like that actually does anything. And then we have, as we said, the slowest like now. Okay, now we'll attack. It's just, all the apes get up, and then they start shooting. And I don't know if you notice this, but apes are terrible shots. Like, horrible.
Call back to stormtroopers. Maybe worse shots than stormtroopers. Yeah.
I genuinely don't think that until Aldo and his men turn up on horseback, a single ape hits a single human with a shot. Like, what I can tell you is that this one ape is very, very successful with a net. And I can tell you that because he seemed to catch the same group of people in the same net from the same tree 3 times. Like, it's astonishing.
Wow. Well, now we do have a time loop.
Yes. I was watching that occurs, like, yeah, and then it cuts to people, and then it cuts to something else. And then, yeah, and it cuts to people. It's like, that looked like the same shot. No, they wouldn't do that. Cut to someone else, cut that. Yeah, cuts to people. It's like, that was the same shot.
Okay, so future filmmakers out there, I am okay with you using an establishing shot multiple times. Like, okay, I get it. This is a big ship in space or a big okay, set the scene, use that establishing shot again. If you're in an action, once again in quotes, action sequence, you cannot repeat your shots.
Yes.
What the F are you doing?
I'd say it's not like as much as the Matrix Reloaded was horrible when it came to some of the battle scenes. Like, at least they didn't just repeat, like, a la the old Hanna-Barbera running down the street with the background going again and again. Like, it's not just the same 3 people being hit. Punch right, punch forward, punch left, punch right, punch forward, punch left. It's like, just come on. Maybe just, I don't know, only show it once and then we think, oh, that probably happens elsewhere in this fight. Like,
yeah. So, anywho, okay, so the big field battle was a dud, but it was a red herring because now we get the confrontation, the final fight. We know it's going to be a big one between Caesar and Aldo. These two, Aldo's had it out for Caesar for the last 46 minutes or whatever the runtime is, and so, oh man, they're going to have it out, and this is going to be fucking awesome. And we have Caesar blocks one like swing from Aldo. Aldo falls and dies.
Yep.
And there's your battle. Once again, out of money, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah. And you seem to forget there was, what was it, like a minute and a half of tree climbing before that punch?
Yes, before that. Well, yeah, we have to build up to this huge battle that's going to take place. And seriously, it's less than 4. Like, it's not even those jokes of like a big prize fight and they're knocked out in the first round. No, we didn't even get a round.
No.
We got one block or one like strike that's blocked. He falls and dead. Yeah. Yay!
Yeah, I mean the stupid thing is that obviously Caesar is still going to be clinging to his morals of an ape doesn't kill another ape.
Yeah.
And clearly Aldo is willing to break that rule. So
that would have been an interesting confrontation to force Caesar into his moral quandary of do I protect my own life?
Yeah, and then you could have, like, technically he is, but you could have Aldo really be the person that ends up killing himself because he's actively trying to kill Caesar, and then he'll do something which will maybe a callback. He'll slice through the branch he's standing on somehow, and then that'll make him fall to his death. I don't know. But no, it really is just, I'm going to punch you. No, you're not. Okay, fine, I'll just die. I may as well die at this point.
Fine, I'm just gonna die.
Yeah. It really is just, I'm like, okay, he's gonna fall to his death. Why? It's in the script. Okay.
Yes, because it was late. We didn't know how to end it, and we're out of money. Here you go. Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, you don't even see an impact or like dealing with anything of that. It really is just like, oh no, I'm clearly dangling off the edge of this thing and not standing on a box just out of shot. No, and then down, and then you see him fall in slow motion a little bit, and then that's it.
So I guess I don't know if I'm just now putting this together, but the only way that apes can be killed is by gravity.
I think so.
Because in the opening we have Caesar's dad, who maybe the bullets didn't kill him, but the fall did.
Yeah.
Cornelius fall killed him. Aldo fall killed him.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah,
I think I'm on to something. I have no idea what it is, but there you go.
Somehow in this weird alternate future, gravity is the only real killer.
This is an anti-gravity propaganda film, and we finally cracked it.
After all this time,
anti-Newtonists were behind this film.
We found the real message.
Yeah, goddamn you, Illuminati, or whatever your message is. Yeah, yeah. So I think I'm glad we got there. That's why we do these, so we can get to the bottom of things.
Oh dear.
Yeah, and speaking of bullshit WTF moments, at the end we get old wise ape telling, ending the story, and then we have a statue of Caesar. We pan to that, camera pans off of old wise ape up to statue. Caesar statue starts to cry. What in the holy actual F is going on there?
Yeah,
What? I mean, why? How is that established as part of this universe? Crying statues?
I don't know. I mean, you've got obviously it's a talk about how they're still waiting for a day when you don't need weapons, and it's like, at least we wait with hope. And then I think they asked, like, who knows the future, and it's just perhaps only the dead, if I'm remembering correctly. And then that's when the single tear comes down. It's like, is that supposed to mean that the future is bleak because the dead is crying about it? Like, that's the only thing I can take from that, given that it's a direct follow-up.
And it's very ironic, too, and I won't get super political, but it's very ironic that this franchise was started with one of the biggest NRA pieces of shit in Charlton Heston. And then that's what the message, in this film, supposedly. I don't know. I just had some issues with that. But, yeah, that crying statue, I was like, what the hell are you trying to do here? I seriously think they had no idea how to end this thing. Okay, well, we'll just try to hit them with some emotion for those 4% that somehow got invested in this. And here you go. Here's your payoff.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, yep. I think we needed to stop at anti-gravity propaganda. I think that's really what it's about.
Yeah, and I don't know if this will explain anything for you, but John William Corrington and Joyce Hooper Corrington, they were brought in to write this after a success of another film of theirs. However, neither of them had written any science fiction films, and they hadn't seen any of the other 8 films before writing it.
Well, that certainly doesn't show.
No, not at all.
Never would have guessed that.
Yeah. No,
all right then.
I figured I'd say that till last because, like after everything we just talked about, it's like, of course that's the case. Like, there's no way in hell that wasn't the case. I don't understand how you can do that. I mean, okay. From a studio point of view, oh look, we have these successful writers and they've agreed to work on this, so hey, maybe it'll be a success. And it's only with hindsight being 2020 that you can say, well, that was a fucking stupid idea. What'd you do that for? Now, weirdly, with all this being said,
Yes.
I enjoyed watching this film.
You know what? I did not enjoy my first experience, but if I had left myself more time, I was enjoying it the second watch. And yes, in that kind of ironic way, of course. I mean, this is not a good film. I don't think either of us are going to make an argument that this is a good movie. But there is enjoyment to be had in the sheer ridiculousness that is this movie.
Oh, yeah. I was
there
watching
are other
this.
films we've covered that I would never wish upon anyone to see. The Curse of Chucky or whatever.
Cult of Chucky.
Yeah, or Cult. I'm sorry. See, can't even recall what that one was.
Yeah.
Or the Ernest in the Army, or even though that one's on someone's list as one of the best Ernest movies, whatever the hell they're smoking, I want some of. But there's others like this and like Jason X that we've done that are just kind of that right in that fun bad zone.
I mean, this was very clearly a film of its time. So as long as you're willing to realize that, I think there's plenty of fun to be had just watching this and just letting it wash over you. Yeah,
and the runtime is a big seller. It's an hour and 26 minutes. You know that's a sign of quality when they can't even make it to the 90-minute mark. Yeah. So you're not going to invest a whole lot. I mean, $4 is $4, but if you can find it somewhere, or if you have a way to finagle the system, and you don't mind doing that, go for it. But yeah, if you're looking for just something really just escapist and not really worried about diving too deep or focusing on, put it on and have a couple beers, or if you're inclined to smoke something, go ahead and do that, and I'm sure you'll love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a film that, and obviously we were just ripping into it. If you have a couple of friends with you, go for it. You guys will have a blast. Just go wow, this is kind of shit.
Yeah, and if worst comes worst, shut it off. No hard feelings.
Yeah, there you go. There's plenty of other stuff to watch if you really want.
Yeah, but give it a go. It's not the worst thing. Certainly not the best.
And I just wanted to say, kind of leaping off of this, I really enjoyed watching this film, and I've been toying around with an idea for the last few months or so, and I feel like this might be a good time to mention it. I kind of want to, in the future, hopefully next year at this point, go into some of the film stars of yesteryear and look at some of their work and kind of do reviewing the old film stars, like studio era, timeline, and moving forward. And that's the basic idea. Of myself and Brian will be hashing it out a little bit more, but if anyone has any suggestions for actors that would be a good starting point, or actors that you would love us to cover, or even just a film that you think we could start with, do let us know, because we seriously do take all suggestions into consideration when we look at this.
Yes, I would say yes. We love the feedback, but we do have ultimate veto power. So it's because we're both egomaniacs. So so we will. If your idea is dumb, we will say no. But oh, I'm so nice to her. But yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'm kind of looking forward to what people think about that. So we'll see where it goes, and we'll try to hit it up as periodically as we can. Just looking forward to kind of diving into that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, through the nature of it and the number of films we would end up watching, it will probably be every 2 or 3 months will be something, because we want to have the time to actually watch a good sample. So, more information on that as and when we actually have some. So there we go.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, yes, now I believe we need to actually come up with a new list of...
Oh, I'm not prepared for this. We might need to...
Well, that's fine. I believe I still have
I do not want a Twitter poll. No Twitter poll. We decide.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't like. Sorry, I love you all, but when you make me watch things I don't want to watch, I get upset. Yeah. So some of this we need to have off mic as well.
No, that's fine. So I've crossed those out. Okay, so in that case, Brian, tell you what, you just give me 3 different numbers between 1 and 10, and I will go off of that.
4, 5, 6.
The ones in consideration, and we will let you know what it will be, is Pirates of the Caribbean, National Lampoon, and Shrek. So,
okay. That's, things could have gone a lot worse. Okay.
Definitely, yes. It was almost Sharknado, but you gave me the other one.
Okay.
So.
All right.
So, yes.
Okay. Stay tuned.
We will let everyone know which 2 we decide at some point. So,
okay. Yep, sounds good. Okay.
Alright, so with all of that out of the way, I've been Paul.
I've been Brian.
And we'll see you folks later.
Bye.
Bye.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Hang on a minute, lads. I've got a great idea.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.